What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Today we're going to talk about the new partnership between GM and Nikola Motors that was announced just yesterday. GM puts out this tweet saying, in pursuit of an all-electric future, we're proud to be working with Nikola Motor to leverage our hydrotech fuel cell tech and Ultium battery system to engineer and manufacture the Nikola Badger, BEV, and FCEV vehicles. Learn more here. So, what 2020's business news could not get any crazier. First, we have Nikola, this company that's, worth $20 billion. They have, as far as I can tell, nothing but a bunch of hype, a bunch of promises. They're losing $100 million a quarter. They don't plan on getting revenue for another 2 years, but they have a huge amount of hype. They're worth a $20 billion market cap. All they pretty much had was a nice website and a bunch of renderings of their products. I made a bunch of videos about why I'm very, very skeptical about what Nikola is doing and really how much technology and value this enterprise has, and how I think it's frankly absurd that it commands the $20 billion valuation that it does. And the financial media has not called them out for it. Nobody seems to get just how ridiculous of a company this is. And I think a lot of it has to do with Tesla's success. We've seen so many EV companies piggybacking on this, trend, trying to hop on the hype train. And now this gets taken one step further, where Nikola and GM announced this massive partnership. The first thing I heard when I read it was like, GM invests $2 billion in Nikola. They have the massive partnership. GM is going to be the company that's building the Nikola Badger, which is this super hyped up pickup truck that is going to have a battery that's the next generation best battery in the world, that also has a fuel cell in the car. It does look badass, but at this point, it's just a rendering. And this is their most hyped up vehicle. It's not coming out till 2022, but they hadn't even had someone to manufacture it. And so now they're saying that they partnered with GM to be able to manufacture this vehicle, which frankly is a huge win for Nikola to be able to partner with this GM, or that's what I thought off the bat. Then I looked more into this deal. And if you read the actual press release, what's going on here is General Motors is receiving 11% of Nikola and the right to nominate a director. And they see the growth opportunity to move in and basically sell Nikola their hydrotech and Ultium battery system. So they can sell them the fuel cell and the batteries, and they get 11%. And it's not like they gave them money. If you read this, it says General Motors to receive $2 billion equity stake in Nikola for exchange for certain in-kind contributions. So General Motors has been given $2 billion, 11% of Nikola, for basically giving Nikola the right to buy more stuff from GM. So basically Nikola just issued $2 billion of new stock and gave it out to GM to create this partnership where they're just going to pay GM more money to actually build the cars, to buy the parts, to do all the manufacturing for their vehicles. So, this is, and they do a lot of spinning here of like, Nikola anticipates saving over $4 billion in battery and powertrain costs over 10 years and over $1 billion in engineering and validation, like a bunch of BS about synergies and cost savings. But I've never seen a deal like this. And I think on so many levels, it's fascinating. It shows how little power Nikola has. They had to give away $2 billion of their stock. It shows how little they care about their stockholders to dilute this massive amount for basically no value at all, other than just the right to work with GM and buy their shitty overpriced parts and technology. They literally paid $2 billion worth of stock. That shows you how radically insane and inflated this equity value is. And then on the flip side, it's like, well, GM is putting their name next to Nikola, putting out a press release. GM puts out a press release saying they form a strategic partnership with Nikola Motors, hyping it up in the same way and talking about how they get this new exposure to a bunch of new growth categories with the Nikola Badger. They're also going to do the fuel cell for the truck, a huge milestone win for their fuel cell, hydrotech fuel cell program, key commercialization milestone. GM is hyping this up like, okay, we're partnering with Nikola, we're going to build all of their stuff. So this validates what a lot of the skeptics have been saying of like, Nikola has no technology. They don't even want to build it. They're literally letting GM build it with their own fuel cell and their own battery tech. It's like, what is Nikola bringing to the table? Literally just the name, the badge on the Badger, and the marketing and the hype is all that Nikola is bringing. And they say the Badger production is expected to start in late 2022 at a location to be announced at a later date. So they don't even know where they're going to build it. It's not even coming out for over 2 years. But there's so much hype for this Nikola Badger product. And so the way I think this is going to work is GM's basically going to get paid to build a massive factory, and then Nikola is going to have to pay GM, 50 or 60 grand or whatever for each truck coming off the line, and then Nikola is going to try and sell those trucks for 80 or 90 grand. And that's how it's going to work. And I'm like, well, who's putting up the money for this factory? Nobody's going to buy these cars. Just so much of this reeks of like not being a practical business partnership. I'm all about vertical integration. I'm all about having one CEO and leader, build, design the product, bring it to market, control the consumer experience. In many ways, what Tesla has done and really vertically integrated and controlled every touch point with the consumer and built everything in-house has really been the key to their success and what has enabled them to move so quickly and be so innovative. And then when you see a company like Nikola, outsourcing everything, partnering with a dinosaur like GM to build their revolutionary technology, it's like GM can't even build revolutionary technology in their own electric vehicles. You think they're going to be able to build it for Nikola with an extra markup? Like, GM's not competing right now. They're getting hosed by Tesla with the Bolt. And so if you add up the Nikola, markup, I don't see how this competes. I mean, I think this is all hype, all fluff. And I've never seen a deal like this in my life where they literally printed $2 billion worth of stock out of thin air just for the right to buy parts to GM. It's almost like that $2 billion worth of stock was for the right to put out this press release so Nikola could say they're working with GM, which is a huge win for them. They've put out a bunch of promises about saying they had to announce an OEM to work with. It looks like they got desperate and nobody wanted to work with them on just an outright deal, so they had to issue this massive amount of $2 billion payment in shares, and it is locked up until 2025. So it does, this could be a long-term partnership. I guess, I'm obviously very, very skeptical of this deal and think it won't succeed. But, maybe the flip side is, maybe this is good. Maybe this gives GM scale for their Ultium and hydrogen fuel cell systems. They're trying to build a bunch of Bolts. Now they have more economies of scale because they're building battery packs for the Badger as well. That brings costs down, And maybe they do. Maybe this is an awesome partnership. Maybe this is a way that GM can get exposure to the EV trend, hopping on the hype of the Nikola brand. I don't know. I will give Nikola credit for getting the hype out there, getting the word out there, getting people excited, because the bottom line is they have a $20 billion plus market cap with nothing. That's impressive on some level. And so, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this partnership. I'm still kind of scratching my head at, like, did they really just print $2 billion worth of stock? Now GM is building everything. Well, I thought Nikola had all the technology, but now it's just GM's crappy technology. Like, do I think this will work? Do I think this is a big deal in the electric vehicle world? No, I think it's all sizzle, no steak, all fluff. But we'll see how it turns out. That's my 2 cents on this GM Nikola deal. The 2020 just keeps getting wilder and wilder here on the electric vehicle world. I guess we're just going to see a ton more crazy deals like this, partnerships, buyouts, acquisitions, IPOs. I don't think any of it's going to stop. I can't wait to keep following it here on the channel. Would love to know what you think about Nikola here. Am I too skeptical of this company? Have I just convinced myself that it's BS and vaporware for no reason? I really want to know. I'd love to know. So leave it in the comments below. I mean, honestly, my biggest takeaway from this is GM is in a lot worse position than I thought. If you look at GM financial and hypercharts, you go to their revenue, gross profit, operating income, it doesn't matter. It looks really ugly. GM is hurting. And I think, in many ways, to me, this partnership not only signaled how desperate Nikola was with this massive stock issuance, but also signified how desperate GM was to just hop on the hype train of a company with nothing just to get some good PR and try and latch onto this Tesla trend. So anyway, this is Hyperchange. That's my analysis. I hope to see y'all soon. Huge shout out to our Patreon supporters, producers, funding the channel. Peace.